Good evening, everyone. It's February the 7th, 2025. I want to help you read between the lines on the next video that I'm putting up with the Prime Minister speaking to our business leaders here in Canada on the tariffs and what's going on, and the fact that Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state. And it is so true what our Prime Minister is talking about in that, about our natural resources, that he wants the same thing as he wanted the natural resources in Greenland. And I want to explain this a little bit better. Now, I was lucky enough that my father worked for the Geological Survey of Canada as a draftsman. He drew many of the Canadian maps that we have today. They're still in use today, as far as I know. And it's very interesting because he told me a lot of things, because when I took geography in school, it was great because he really was able to help me a lot. And it was what he told me back in the 1960s as a teenager that I listened to, understood about our Canadian North, the importance of the Northwest Passage, that's for sure. And this is a story about why Canada's sovereignty in the North became very important, and that it was necessary that we find the Franklin Ships Expedition, the ship that had sunk, and it was found to show that the British were here first. Because if you remember the last, say decade, people have, especially Russia, has been poking around, trying to get into our north, and it's not just the importance of the Northwest Passage. And the same thing with China is also interested in it. Definitely, they like to come in and take over Canada, I'm sure, and get all our resources as well. So this is where the problem is. And the reason it is happening now is because back in the 1960s, my father told me that back then they were trying to get to the all the minerals and whatever that was in the oil, possibly in the ground, and that up that was frozen under the tundra up in the Arctic. Now, back in the 1960s, they were trying to use drills, and they were diamond drills, is what they called them. And even diamond is supposed to be one of the hardest substances, and they couldn't drill through that permafrost and that hard ground back then. He also said to me, heaven help us if the day ever comes that the Arctic starts melting. Then it's going to expose all this, then we'll be able to drill all this. And this is what's happening in both Canada and Greenland with the climate change that we're in right now. So this is not a good thing right now, and this is why he's definitely wants us to be the 51st state. He wants to be the first one there as well. And that's why we have NORAD up in the north as well. And that is why the Prime Minister also has put that extra money in. It was a huge amount of money to upgrade NORAD to protect our country and to protect the Northwest Passage. Because that would be another way, if they couldn't use the Panama Canal, it would be another shortcut, basically, through the continent if they could get through the Northwest Passage. And of course, Franklin and we had those early explorers tried to get through the Northwest Passage, but it was possible. And that's why also the Prime Minister has beefed up Coast Guard cutters that can go through the ice and that are now actually new cutters. Cost the taxpayers a lot of money, but they're up there patrolling as well the Northwest Passage. So we needed that kind of protection. NORAD needed to be upgraded. I know that I'm sure behind closed doors, because this is something that I sort of heard. It was partially put on the news too about former President Biden wanting us to upgrade NORAD because it would be a way of helping to protect the whole North American continent, so that nobody could invade us from the north and come down through Canada and into the United States as well. I would not want, let's say, Russia or China be overtaking Canada and sitting on the 49th parallel and trying to get into the States as well. So we could be in a serious situation. So I can't condemn our Prime Minister. I mean, he's resigned. Yes, he's still our Prime Minister. And I really appreciate the fact, because this was something that way back after the Second World War, that generation was extremely worried that another war could possibly start through our northern Arctic. So this is where I'm going to leave it today. I just want to help people understand and read a little bit through the lines, what I understand of between history and what I understand from geography of what my father told me, and what that generation coming out of the war after the Second World War also told me. So I'm going to leave it there today, everyone. You take care. I hope you listen to this video very carefully, and I think you really need to understand, because before I end this, the Nanos poll came up. The Liberals are definitely increasing, and I think that's the way we have to go. I think we have to look at what's in place and what's best for our country, because we need to protect and defend Canada right now. This election, I think, is going to be based, as Nick Nanos stated on TV. I didn't get that video, but it was on CTV News as well, that's what he was feeling too, that this is going to be a battle to protect Canada and defend it. So everyone, you have a great evening. Take care, be safe, and we shall talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.